Well, hey there again, my friends. It's Carpo again. I got a few things to talk about today, and one of them is CBD. And I have kind of refrained from talking about the topic of cannabis for quite a while. It's not something that I talk about much, even though it's been a part of my life for, 30 years now. So I'm no stranger to it. Um, I believe that the market, I have to just kind of bite my tongue and not say anything because basically all of my fears have come true about what would happen when cannabis was legalized. And this includes, but not limited to, major corporations taking over the cannabis industry, huge players forcing out the small guys, lobbying Congress and local governments to pass laws that only favor the big dudes, using compounds that other and insecticides that may be less than desirable and not declaring them, making really crappy extracts, bad practices, horrible quality for the horrible price, and way high taxes. All those things aside, there's something that bothers me even more than the legal cannabis market when it comes to, say, THC, which is the CBD market. And since I was young, when I was in high school, to kind of give you a background, when I was in high school in 1994 in my senior class, my paper that I wrote was about the medical benefits of cannabis. And CBD was a huge part of that. And this, mind you, was in 94. So 25 years ago, it was a very long time ago, and there still was hardly anything known at that time about it. Fast forward 25 years, and we've learned so much about the benefits of these various compounds, CBD, THC, CBN, and even when you're eating, when you eat cannabis, a lot of folks don't realize it converts to hydroxy THC, I believe it is, which is much more powerful and has unique effects from smoking it. So we have these people who don't know any better going into the shop for their first time saying, oh, I'll just try an edible because it's probably milder than smoking it. No, it's a big mistake, and it's kind of the Wild West, but it shouldn't be, is what I'm getting at. But all that aside, cannabis shops and all the BS, the CBD market is off the rails, complete nonsense. You've got CBD infused creams and lotions. I kind of, when I walked into Fred Meyer, which is like Kroger out here, the other day, and I saw this whole shelf of CBD stuff by the pharmacy, that was like the last straw. I'm like, I've got to talk about this again. It won't be the first or last time. But it's almost just shameful, just kind of face palm when I see these things. Like, I'm sorry to say, but CBD itself can be used medically for many beneficial uses, including but not limited to seizures. Some kids can go from like hundreds of seizures down to two or three or none a day by taking even the pharmaceutical version from GW Pharmaceuticals, which was Epidiolex, the first CBD approved drug. But it's not even just CBD. It's just some pharmaceutical greed trying to make money off of it. Long before that, we had Charlotte's Web, which was a high CBD strain. I was actually going to bring out a bud to show you of Harlequin Tsunami. It was a strain I used to grow, and it's 12% CBD, but less than 1% THC. It still has the other cannabinoids in it, which makes it more beneficial. And I can't really get into the tech science here because I'm no biologist, I'm no plant chemist, but I do know that in laboratory settings for certain conditions, including pain or anxiety or depression, whatever you might be taking it for, which it may or may not work for, when it's taken with THC, the levels of CBD that can remain in the body to work are much higher. If it's not, it goes right out of the bloodstream much quicker. And these studies have shown that basically CBD as an isolated compound is basically worthless for most conditions people are taking it for. The placebo effect is so strong, people are willing to actually pay $50 for a CBD cream, put it on their skin, and they think that they actually feel better. Some people even claim to get high off of it, even though that's not what CBD does. So there's a major misconception in the market, and this is playing directly into the corporate hands, the people who are selling you these products. The good products come in some little homemade container with a handwritten label. Believe you me, there are some people out there who, like I have a friend who makes these tinctures, and they're just, they're great. because I know that they're made with care, they're made quality, and but when it comes down to like buying things from the store, you get these little 5 or 10 milligram candies, which are basically nothing in there, and they're made from extracts. They're not made from the pure plant. I prefer to make, say, butter if I'm going to make something. But all that aside, I just really wanted to basically to make this not too long, but just to warn people against buying all these CBD products they see in the grocery store, because I guarantee you that a majority of them, if not all of them, are bullshit. And I know that sounds like a bold claim, and it's not a hater claim because I would love to see high dose CBD, tinctures and medicine available for people who need it that are truly, say, 200 milligrams or 500 milligrams or up to a full gram of CBD, which is beneficial for certain conditions. Some people believe CBD is good for cancer, things like this, and nobody can make that claim. But even the trials that have shown that it can be beneficial, we're talking huge doses, like a gram of pure CBD used in conjunction with other therapies. So this isn't your typical 5 milligram CBD treat. You'd have to eat, 200 of them to equal one dose of what actually has been shown in the lab. So at least know the laboratory studies and the scientific dosages that have been shown to be beneficial if we're taking something, because the cost, people are spending way too much money on CBD, and there are probably better compounds out there. I know people don't know better, and that's understandable. That said, CBD, for those who do need it and have found it beneficial, even if it is placebo, I say go for it. If you can afford it. I had a company that asked me if I would sell their product on my website, and it was some CBD company. I was like, well, I'd have to try it first. They sent me a bottle, and I was like, okay, it looks okay, but the dosage was ridiculously small. And I asked him how much it was, and it was over $100 a bottle. And I'm like, asked the guy, I emailed him back and forth. I'm like, so where is this derived from? Pure flower? It's like, oh, it's hemp derived. I'm like, so you're selling me overseas hemp derived with God knows what chemical hemp derived extracts that you claim is full spectrum. You throw it in a bottle and sell it for $100. It's bullshit. It's a complete ripoff. And hemp is dirt cheap now. It should not cost that much. And I see a lot of people taking advantage, and it's pretty shameful that folks are willing to do that, but others are willing to buy it. And when there's a market for it, people will sell it. So those are my thoughts on CBD today. I'm not saying it's not beneficial for some. I'm just saying it's like anything else. It's being overprescribed and overmarketed. It's not just big pharma that does this. It's the little guys too. So keep that in mind when you're out there buying from your local, naturopath store, because a lot of that stuff is hokey as well. Talk to you later.